your mama and slap your other mama, because today we're talking all about the Iowa caucus, which I think is pronounced that way. It's a kind of election they do to see who's going to be in the real election, but it all takes place in Iowa, easily the third worst state. Indiana, North Dakota, Iowa, South Dakota. I hope that answers all your questions. Also, thanks to President Joseph Robinette Brandon, the southern border is currently Swiss cheese, which is ironic because the people passing through it are absolutely not Swiss. What are they? All that and more will be answered when the show starts right pronto. Welcome to the Vongiano Predicament. I'm your host, Steve Vongiano. I'm a moderate centrist, bit of a milquetoast fence sitter. I give you the truth away from the lying mainstream media. Also, everybody get out of their airplane immediately. This video was recently captured aboard a Boeing 757, and it shows an airplane door flying off into the sunset, and then everyone on there being really weirdly chill about it. You should all be screaming and rending your garments. Listen, if I'm ever on a plane and the door no longer exists, I am immediately kissing the person next to me while f***ing off and denouncing God. Now, I have no proof of what I'm about to say. No proof, aside from the fact that it feels right, which is the best kind of proof you can have. Is it possible that this airplane was in fact not constructed by people who were hired based on merit, maybe from an airplane constructor video game tournament, or their uncle is John T. Boeing? Maybe instead, this particular airplane, especially the door, was built by a DEI hire. DEI stands for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and it basically means that if someone is black enough or trans enough, or they're missing at least half of their fingers and / or all of their dick, they're getting hired. Boeing, if that is your real name, I will never fly your airline again. Not until you let me and every potential passenger see the SAT scores of anyone who built the plane. And also the SAT scores of the pilots. And also I get to meet the pilots and they give me one of those pin-on wing things, and if I behave myself, I get to sit in their lap and briefly fly the plane. It only makes sense. Let's play that video again. That's Joe Biden's America. Gas is $7 a gallon as long as you read the price wrong. Groceries are also too expensive. It is extremely cold all the time. The other day, your DoorDash order was late, plane doors are flying off, your debit card got declined ordering a $5 footlong, $5 footlongs are $8, and of course the real insurrection is happening right now at the gosh darn southern border. Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Florida, California, but we mostly don't count it because you know why. South Dakota, Maine. You better darn believe Rhode Island is in on this. What do all of these states and no additional states have in common? They are all located on the United States southern border, which used to be as unimpenetrable as a nun's p***. But nowadays, it's as open as can be, much like an ex-nun's p***. The radical dingus in the Democratic Party, especially Representative Maureen Terry from Maine, whose main campaign issues are, of course, rounding up all white people into concentration camps and also slightly raising the taxes on crab boat rentals.
Haven't the proud crab fishermen of New England suffered enough just from having stupid accents?
All of these Democrats want to claim that Donald Trump is guilty of insurrection, which I suspect might be a word they made up a few months ago. Meanwhile, the real insurrection is happening at the southern border, with hundreds upon thousands upon, some are saying 700 million illegal immigrants coming in to vote in our elections, give the Democrats more House seats, and of course, take all of our jobs in the competitive field of standing outside Home Depot and / or Mexican restaurant ownership. End of list. One other thing, they also build all the airplanes, which explains this video. What's that? Oh, I already played it twice? Don't care. Third time's the charm. Roll it. All I can say is that if I had been on that plane, things would have gone down differently. That's all. Guys, I'm not even a big Donald Trump fan. I'm not some crazy MAGA guy screaming at the top of my lungs about how Donald Trump is the only hope we have to save this country from George Soros and additionally the devil. And if we re-elect Joe Biden, who also lost last time, then he's going to put Hunter Biden in charge of the public school system, and all of our kids will be forced to wear a jean jacket with no shirt as part of their uniform. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that maybe some consistency from the mainstream media, more like lamestream media, got their ass. Don Lemon on suicide alert. They claim that there is no invasion, that you're not being replaced by a pool boy named Jimenez who can run a 250 faster than you could even before the knee injury. Stop lying, lamestream media. Gotcha. Everyone on CNN, MSNBC, they claim that illegal immigrants can't vote. But if that's the truth, riddle me this. Why did Xochitl Gomez win the last season of Dancing with the Stars, if not for millions upon millions of border jumpers texting Xochitl to 812-812?
It should have been Ariana after all she's been through. ABC, you just Sandoval'd her again.
This illegal immigrant problem is getting so out of control. Even blue cities are fed up with it. Blue cities. You know those places that all got burnt down in the 2020 riots and then rebuilt in the spring of 2021 when we had hope briefly, and then burned down again a few weeks later, and then they built it all up again later that summer, and they did it early in the morning because everyone knows Antifa doesn't wake up until like 1 in the afternoon. And so Antifa didn't even realize it was rebuilt. But unfortunately, all the cities fell apart anyway because, well, the guys they hired to build them, of course, also build airlines for Boeing. Play that video again. We have fun. Anyway, every Mexican person who isn't currently wearing their papers on their shirt in a kind of lanyard situation should be deported immediately, either back to Mexico or perhaps Guatemala or Honduras, which I believe are suburbs of Mexico. These immigrants, who again can vote, at least in reality show-based elections, have been bused to blue cities like New York or Chicago or Miami, where they were promptly beat up by Cubans, who, as it turns out, are even more racist against other brown people than us white folks could ever even dream of.
Get a cervezas and a Cuban guy with a straw hat and a pontoon boat, he will go off.
And all of these blue cities immediately said, please, daddy federal government, please get rid of these dirty immigrants. They won't stop playing salsa music, and it's making my wife too horny. Disgusting. They've demanded the National Guard come in and help them. Maybe move the immigrants somewhere else, like Canada or the first manned exhibition to Mars, stuff like that. Meanwhile, the media won't cover this story. They won't tell you the truth, which is that every time you celebrate Taco Tuesday, your children get slightly less safe and slightly more fat. Okay, enough about illegal immigrants. Except to say they've yet to produce any new Taco Bell menu items. There's gotta be a better way to mix those 3 ingredients they keep in their caulking guns. Anyway, next story. Donald Trump has won the Iowa primary caucus, and everyone else can, quite frankly, suck it.
I support Trump for president and getting sucked in all down-ballot races.
He dominated the field in Iowa, easily winning 51% of the total vote. Coming in second was Ron DeSantis with 20% of the vote, and Nikki Haley with 19% of the vote. And it all makes you wonder, what the hell even is a primary? Okay, according to Wikipedia, primary elections, or direct primary, are voting processes by which voters can indicate their preference for their party's candidate, or a candidate in general, in an upcoming general election, local election, or by-election. Depending on the country, the administrative divisions within the country, voters might consist of the general public in what is called an open primary, or solely the members of a political party in what is called a closed primary. In addition to these, there are other variants on primaries, open parentheses, which are discussed below, closed parentheses, that are used by many countries holding elections throughout the world. And then it kind of just goes on like that, another couple of pages like a gosh darn nerd. I guess these primaries are like elections, but instead of choosing who the president is going to be, they decide who the Republican nominee for president is going to be. Nobody knows if the Democrats do their own primaries because every time someone brings up the topic, Joe Biden punches them in the face and then calls them a racial slur not heard since the Great Depression. Jelly boo. It sounds innocent, but if you want to insult a Hungarian person in 1923, that's your ticket. So Iowa did a primary on Monday, I think it was. It also might have been Tuesday. It might be happening in the future, and I'm having one of my witch spells, as producer Nancy Mom calls them. I don't know. I can't know. I do know this. Whatever day it happened on, Iowa was cold as hell. Isn't it ironic that the radical dingus left, everyone who has a Biden-Harris bumper sticker, does black bloc, and burns down auto zones on the weekends, they claim that global warming is real and you should pay more taxes about it. Meanwhile, they're making it snow in Iowa for the first time ever. And by they, I mean, of course, the Jews. We need to send more guns to Israel. Donald Trump won, as we all knew he would. Absolutely dominated the competition, much like he was in prison and they promised to give him a pack of cigarettes in exchange for their cherry buttholes. But then they negged on the deal. And you never neg on the deal in O-Block, or they will hold you down and f*** your ass so hard you'll be leaking it out of your ears. That's what Donald Trump did to, of course, Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek rhymes with cake. Seemed cool. He had all the stuff I look for in a candidate, like truth, honesty, flair, and a willingness to talk to me briefly. It was a Zoom conference. We broadcast it. He thought I was someone named Kevin, and when it was over, he thought his camera was off, and he started masturbating and referring to himself as Jeffrey Toobin, a bad widow boy. Point is, he'll talk to literally anyone with a YouTube channel because apparently he was under the impression that his target demo was racist 13-year-olds. He dropped out, pledged loyalty to Donald Trump, and is now doing outreach work, and I presume the most cursed frozen oil fields in North Dakota, which I don't think is actually a state. Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, however, remain in it. Ron DeSantis, pictured here wearing high-heeled boots like a woman, came in second, and as a result will never come again. As you all know, I was initially on his side, mostly due to his stance against gay books, which of course are all books.
Reading is gay, write it down.
But eventually, I was thrown asunder by his use of AI to help his campaign. That's right, he asked ChatGPT to write dirty talk for his wife, Casey DeSantis, pictured here with the child that came about from the one time she did have sex with Ron and or sat down on a bench he had jerked off on. Nikki Haley, who also wore high-heeled boots like some kind of woman, is actually named Nimrata, and once a month she has to wear a diaper due to bleeding out of her genitals. So I don't think we really need to spend any more time on her. And that leaves us with Donald J, stands for Jesus, possibly Trump. And again, I'm not a big MAGA guy, but it's pretty obvious to anyone who really pays attention to politics like I do, who really gets it, you know? Trump is easily gonna win in a 49-state landslide. Heck, maybe a 50-state landslide. Also, how many states are there? Did we make North Dakota a state? We should reverse that. It sucks. Trump 24. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. I love him. I will take a bullet for him. He is the only hope for the white race. I'm a moderate centrist. All right, guys, thanks for watching. That was the news. You got the news. If you're in college and you need to watch the news for college, this show did it. Like and subscribe. Hit those buttons down there. I got all these buttons. They're all around. I'm on X, which has always been called that. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram, okay? I'm blowing up all over there. Most importantly, I'm on Patreon.com. If you go to Patreon.com/TheVongina Predicament, you can, for only $5 a month, which is perfectly nothing. If you don't have $5 a month to spare, you should be ashamed of yourself, and you should work harder, okay? You should go outside to wherever people are and say, need $5 a month? And they'll go, why? And they go, that is racist YouTube channel. You can get it. You can get that $5 a month. For that money, you get an exclusive bonus episode. You get access to raw green screen feeds. And you get the best perk of all, an executive producer credit. Oh my God, I had to scratch right under my eye there. Oh, look at me scratch my eye. I should do another take, but I'm not coming out and scratching my whole face. Yeah, this is your credit. Your name is going by as I make these noises. I love the executive producers. They're great, man. And I love you guys, even if you don't give me money. That being said, I love you less. Significantly less. We're bordering on not loving you. All right, gang. I'll be back with another episode real soon. And until next time...
Is it normally cold in Iowa, or is that like on the equator?
Shut up and sit down.